He started this build in 1960 with his son, and it sat in this barn for many, many years because he started this project with his son, who went off to Vietnam, and he got killed in Vietnam, and his dad couldn't do anything else with the car.
So it is a barn find, guys. So welcome to another episode of Junkyards and Barn Finds with Sean, and I'm Sean. Hey guys, so we are with Russell, and you saw the first video that Russell, if you have not seen Russell's video, go to Russell's Garage. There's a link below, and that was his father's car right there. It is an unrestored car, one best in show with just wash and soap when he got it back after his father, unfortunately, is no longer with us. But this hot rod here, Russell's about to show us. You're gonna see a lot more in depth. If you wanna watch the build on this, then you want to do what I'm going to do, and that is subscribe and watch Russell's build. He's going to build this. He's going to show you how to do it. He's going to walk you through it. That's what he likes to do. He likes to teach people how to do things. And so, Russell, tell me a little bit about the car. Introduce this one.
So this is a 1929 Ford Model A two-door coupe.
Now, is it all steel or is it a kit?
It's all steel. This is all steel, Henry Ford. Steel body. I took the patent tag off because we're in the process of painting it. But this is 100% 1929 steel body.
And
it's original 29 chassis that is boxed and tubed to support the horsepower that it has in it.
I see you've decided to go with the full venue of Henry Ford's color choices for this car. You could get it in any color as long as it was black. So they're staying with that. And one of the things which is cool, people look at these cars all the time. Why is this there? Because people don't realize something.
This is the original gas tank, which for a big motor, that's the pepcock that will be being removed, because the motor that was in this was a flat four. They were gravity fed, and this is where the fuel used to come out to the carburetor.
Safety issue too. Probably not a good time in this day and age to have your firewall be your fuel tank.
Yeah, it's not much better for the option that I have for the fuel tank, but it's in the back, so.
Does this have the Ford air conditioning?
It sure does.
And this is pretty standard for the year?
Yeah.
Whoop. Oh, if he can reach it. And if he can't, there you go. So this is your standard original Ford air conditioning. Oh, I'm sorry I asked. There you go. So this is how they did air conditioning. And hopefully you didn't have a vented cap, because then you got some really nice fuel fumes in as well. So this is aftermarket. They didn't have this,
no,
correct? Is that real?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
You could get it with the option of this and without this.
Wow. So this is period correct.
Yes.
I mean,
top it was redone in the 60s.
Is it cloth still?
No, it's vinyl.
Vinyl.
It's
okay.
vinyl with the chicken wire, because everyone don't understand, these cars are mostly wood.
Right.
They have a steel structure, but all of these behind, all of this in here is wood. All around here is wood.
So it's like metal filled with wood.
Yes. The skeleton of the car is wood.
Okay, and then they would build the metal pieces, bond them to the wood frame and somehow.
And see, these bodies weren't actually built by Henry Ford. They were built by coach companies. So this is they did have a body by Ford, and the difference is this is a Briggs body because it curves here.
Okay.
The other difference is this would be a straight edge.
So if it was Ford, it would be a sharp corner.
Yeah, right on this part of the window.
Okay, so this would be a sharp corner.
But this is a Bridges body.
Okay.
Which was another coach builder for Fords back in that.
Okay, and they were real actual coach builders.
Yes.
Not like coach, like we think like buses are coaches. They were like coaches that would have real horses in the front.
And then everybody, doesn't understand how you tell a 30 and 31 from a 28, 29 is the cowl.
Okay.
This has this much for a 28, 29, where the cowl is even with a 31.
Okay.
So that's how you can tell the difference between. And then here's another fun fact. If you look on the door handle over here, you have a key slot to unlock the door. On the left side, there isn't one. Do you know why?
No.
Because back in the 20s and 30s, it was not legal to exit on the driver's side.
You had to exit to the sidewalk?
To the sidewalk. So that's why they made the locking of the vehicle from the passenger side.
Now, do the rear windows, do they crank up and down, or they
roll fully down.
Oh wow, okay.
And I did change the front seats. The story of this car.
Yeah, how'd you get it? Tell us a little bit about how to end up here.
Well, the car belonged to a friend of my stepmother's brother, which would be my uncle. And he started this build in 1960 with his son. So the car has a 66 Corvette rear end in it, and it has a 65 Corvair front end for the rack and pinion. Because
that was before Mustang 2s. Everybody used Mustang 2, but
back then you got stuff out of the junkyard, and that's how you built these stuff. You couldn't buy the stuff off the street.
Right.
So this is when the build was originated. It had a 289 in it when my dad bought it, but it was seized up, and it sat in this barn for many, many years because he started this project with his son, who went off to Vietnam, and he got killed in Vietnam, and his dad couldn't do anything else with the car.
So it is a barn find, guys.
And when my dad went to look at this car, it had so much dust on it he couldn't even tell the color.
So it kind of looks like this.
It looked like that. They thought it was actually gray until they cleaned it up. And my father had it painted around the same time this one was. It wasn't the greatest paint job, and from it sitting up in Michigan in the barn for 6 years, the mice had gotten into it. They urinated in here, so I had to do metal patches on each side of the cowl from the urination.
Wow.
I had to rip out all the insulation. I put new carpet in it when I put a new wiring harness in it because it actually caught fire on me.
Obviously you have like the grill and the pieces here. They're just in there. Now, tire-wise, the spokes, which were really popular back in the late 60s and stuff, were those you added?
I just bought these ones because my dad talked about liking these ones, and I'm trying to go in his vision that we discussed.
Okay.
This car originally had Daytons on it, and my dad was driving it, and the right one flew off because they were the knock-ons.
Oh, the real knock-ons.
Yeah, so he ended up putting these true spokes on, and I like them, but my vision now with the car is I'm probably not going to run the full hood on it.
Right.
I'm going to probably have just the top on. And I wanted to go with, it had 14s in the front, 15s in the back. I went with 15 all the way around because the disc brake conversion I'm going to do to the front requires 15.
Okay.
And
now you have the front sheet metal, so if you wanted to put the cowls on either side.
The hood's up there.
Okay.
And the running boards are sitting up there.
Okay.
And there's the front fenders right there.
Okay. So the pieces are there. You're not getting rid of them.
No,
You're
I'm not
just
getting rid of them.
So, and then was this the transmission that came with it?
That's a C4 Ford transmission.
Okay.
Because we're sticking to the pier. It's a Ford.
Right.
It needs a Ford drivetrain. Most of these, when they do the build, they'll do an independent front suspension and a straight axle rear. This is four-wheel independent. How you buy cars now. The front and back are independent suspension. So this thing handles really nice for a short wheelbase car.
And it doesn't have power steering, but you don't need power
No.
steering. This car is going to weigh, what, about 2,200 pounds at the most?
Yep.
With the engine in it?
You don't even tell that you don't have power steering or power brakes on it. It has disc brakes in the back, drums now. I have a conversion kit to do the discs in the front of it.
So, and then, so this is the front end that came out of a Corvair.
Yeah, this part is the Corvair cross member.
Okay.
This is your original 29. And then, of course, the engine and subframe up there had to be fabricated. But these are the original 29. I am not going to run a front bumper, so these brackets are going to come off because it looks a lot better.
And even though it's an original car, the wiring harnesses obviously are not original because the wiring that would come with this car was that stuff that was like you would find in a 1929
I
house.
just replaced this wiring harness. It's all brand new because the old wiring harness that was in here actually caught fire on me. They had it wire nutted together, and it was it was fiber, it was brittle and everything. So the whole car has been rewired with a quick wire harness.
Which also is nice because now you don't have to use a generator. You can actually use an alternator,
Right.
correct?
It had already been converted to 12
Okay.
volt when they did it in the 60s with that 289.
Okay.
But the wiring harness they did, it was just wire nutted, pieced together here, there. It actually had for the gauges extension cord on the back of it, because I put a whole new gauge set with all the 6 gauges in it, because it didn't have a fuel gauge, and it had a fuel gauge but it wasn't hooked up. So I put with the new tank that's in the back that I'm putting in, and the speedometer was way down there, and it didn't have a temperature gauge or nothing. So
Now, has this got the rumble seat in the back?
no, this is a
This is the 5-window, right? Or actually,
this is a 2-door coupe.
Okay.
Or sedan, two-door sedan is what it is.
Okay.
So it's not like, it doesn't have the rumble.
So this has, to me, like I'm a kid of the 70s. I was a kid in the 70s. I was a teenager in the 80s, but in the 70s, a lot of the Hot Wheel cars and the models cars, I remember that Red Baron monogram model.
Yeah.
And they all had this really cool, like this back end, just looks so mobster.
I know.
And it's perfect for like if you want to put any kind of anything here. If you don't, it's also cool.
Well, I have the rack and the trunk that goes on the back. The trunk's actually
okay.
inside the car.
And this is your fuel tank,
That's
fuel
the
cell.
I fabbed up the brackets and everything for it.
So you weld, like let's talk a little bit about you, since you're going to be building this, and so these guys, they're kind of new to you. You have all the skill, like you weld, you've built for a living. You were I
was actually I started out in independent shops working, and I was a certified Toyota tech for many years for Toyota, and I moved to Florida and found out that your license doesn't matter in Florida. You don't have to be licensed as a mechanic, so they don't want to pay
if you look at me, yeah, that's totally true.
They don't want to pay anything, and that's my license from when I lived in Michigan.
Okay.
And
because Michigan, you actually have to be a professional.
You have to be licensed.
Not that we're not professionals, and there are professionals in Florida.
Right.
But
the pay isn't there because they could just go hire anybody.
Anybody can turn a wrench.
Yeah, that's what they think. So the pay's not there, which then told me my dad actually, before he passed, because he hadn't passed yet when I moved to Florida, and he told me I needed to get out of the automotive industry, that it just doesn't pay anymore.
Right.
And to look into going into industry, and that's when I became engineer.
But you have all the skill. You can weld, you can do wiring, you can do all this, anything you need to do to build a car.
Yes.
So, and you have an understanding of it. Now, was your dad also in, what was his skill set for
He
cars?
started out in gas stations back in the 60s,
Okay.
60s and 70s. He actually worked for Chrysler down in Detroit in the Motor City, and then in his later years, he was working for Detroit Edison at the power plant as an engineer.
Okay.
And that's why I followed.
So it's
his
in your
route.
blood.
Yeah.
Okay. So the plan for this, and this is basically video number, I think 2, right? Because you have one of your first videos.
I have 2 videos.
2 videos.
3 videos.
3. So this is actually video number 4 of the build. So if you want to see the first 3 parts.
Well, none of it's on the builds. I haven't done anything on the cars yet. This is the first actual video of this car or that car, and the plans.
Okay, that's what I was.
Yeah.
All right, so guys, this is the first video in the series of this, and you said it's a 29.
It's a 29.
So if you want to follow the build of the 29, Russell's going to be putting videos up and walking you through things he's going to do. And if you're somebody who wants to build a hot rod, and listen, right now, the way the world is, when everybody says we're not going to have fuel and all this stuff, as I've said in other videos, there ain't no electric airplanes, there ain't no electric big giant freighter boats, there ain't no, well, there is electric trains, but I mean, the locomotives they run now are diesel.
Well, yeah, they're hybrids is what they are.
Yeah, and so everybody who says there's not going to be any need for gas-powered cars by 2035, basically you're going to see a lot of people who have the skills to fix these for the next 50 years until I'm dead. And so this is a skill to have. If you're young and you've never built a car, this is a good way to watch and see what skills you need. Even if you got a kit, you could get a kit similar to this and then kind of follow what you do. And this will give you some shortcuts and some ways to do this in the correct way. So that's something too, or just follow along and
also on the
support
channel, we're going to be doing stuff with modern cars, so people can get informed on the electronics of modern cars, doing LS swaps, stuff like that. They need to use computers to run them, because this is old school dinosaur stuff. Carburetors were actually taken out of the automotive book in 1996. They haven't taught how to rebuild a carburetor in an automotive school since 1996.
which is crazy.
Yeah. So, you know, but everything's electronic now, fuel injected. A lot of builders are putting LS motors in and going the electric route. So we're going to cover some of that, you know, on modern cars. And
that's the same amount. I think it was around the same time they took out how to adjust your valves in the owner's manual and started putting in there, don't eat the Tide Pods. You know, so we're trying to get back to people that you guys have really, the people that are watching this and fixing cars like that Honda out there, which one of the things you're going to do is, like, this car here has an issue that
it's been to 8 mechanics and a Honda dealership, and they've thrown a ton of parts at it and kept telling him it needed a motor and it was going to cost $4,000. And he was discouraged on it and was about to scrap the car, and I told him not to do anything with the car until he brought it to me. And it was a crank sensor.
There you go.
The crank sensor wasn't bolted in, and it does need some other things. It has a throttle body issue and some other stuff we're going to address, but I'm trying to make him right with all the money he spent. It's a car for his kid, and he wants a safe car for his kid.
And Russell's going to make a video of that, going over that car as well. So that'll be something. So it's not just 20s cars, it's not 50s cars, it's not his Challenger, which you'll get to see. It is also just a standard car like you might have, and hey, get a second opinion, get a third opinion, get a fifth opinion, talk to somebody in a car club, talk to somebody like Russell before you accept the fact that you got to replace these engines.
Yeah. So. Never take the first. Make sure you research it and do your homework on it, because they're gonna try to get the most money out of you.
Especially now, no offense, I like dealerships. I have friends that work at dealerships. I have good rapport with dealerships. But right now, the dealership, their repair shop makes about 80% right now because of the car sales being so down. That new car dealer is about between 75 and 80%. And I saw this on about 6 different videos, which is where I got the number from, is repair and service work. They're not making a ton of money right now on selling cars because there's a car shortage, there's a chip shortage, and everything else. So they have to make the money up somewhere. They got payroll, they got mortgages, they got giant shops, they got $1 million stuff. They got to pay for those cars that are sitting and not selling. So they're making the money from, and if you guys want, there's 1,000 different YouTube videos out there of how people take something in and say, hey, I just want air put in the tires, and they come out getting told they need a new transmission.
And the reason is, and it's not that it's right, is people don't understand how mechanics are paid in a dealership. They're paid flat rate, which means if a job comes in and it needs brakes and it calls for 2 hours to do the brakes, you're paid 2 hours. If it takes you 20 minutes to do that, you're still paid 2 hours. So if you can get 4 brake jobs done in 2 hours, you just made a ton of money. So the more they can upsell is the more that goes on their hours that they're actually paid for. They're not paid for hours worked like in a normal, you go to work for 8 hours, you get paid 8 hours. If there's no job there, they're there but not getting paid. So they're going to try to sell.
They're going to find something.
They're going to find something because that's how they make their money.
Yeah. So, all right, guys. Thanks for watching. And seriously, click on the link. Go and check out the videos. Go check out the video of his dad's car. That is a beautiful car. It's on his channel. So check out Russell's Garage. It's a new channel. It's going to be an awesome channel. It's going to be way more in depth on actual fixing and building and stuff than mine will be, because I just find stuff. But click right now over, and there you can see the front. I'm not even going to show you the back end of this car. If you want to see the back end or the interior or the engine or anything else of that car, you got to switch over to his channel.
Should we show him the motor to the 29?
Ooh, you know what? He wants to show the motor I'm thinking, if you're seeing this on my channel, you want to see the motor? You're gonna have to go over to his channel and look at the motor. So there you go. First little hanger thing. So now you have to go and see his channel, or you don't get to see the motor. That's just how life is, man. So, all right. So thanks for watching. Thanks to Russell for inviting me here. Now you're gonna switch to Russell's channel, and he already has a video similar to this because we've been working together. But you're not gonna see the engine on my channel. Never showing the engine on my channel. We'll never, ever, unless he drives by me and I don't know him and I see him, I go, hey Russell, how you doing? And why are you near me? Because you live like 100 miles from me. But anyway, we're gonna go and make a video of the engine and stuff. And so we'll see you over at Russell's garage. Flip there now, click, click, click. Do this. And before you watch the video, hit the red subscribe button for him. Thank you guys. Talk to you later. April, should they subscribe to this channel even if they don't like cars today for this one?
Probably just for this one.
Where it says merchandise store right here, merchandise store link, you will see it says https:/junkyards-barn-finds, and you click on that and it's going to take you here.